Good day, and welcome to What Are You Going to Do with That Lemon? I am Dr. Sandra Renee Stanley with Sandra Renee Stanley Ministries, and I am talking about things that we're not talking about in the churches, in the communities, or either things that we just don't know about to make you aware of. So today, I am here with my wonderful friend, Miss Debrah Nickerson, and she's going to be sharing about her nonprofit that she started. I'm going to let her share all that. And the lemon is homelessness and how do we assist people that are homeless and what the impact she's having on our homeless community. And I'm going to pass the lemon to you so you can share with us about the need, the name of your nonprofit, your name, and tell us about yourself and what you're doing.
My name is Debrah Nickerson. I am founder of Fort Worth 5 Loaves and 2 Fish Outreach. We are a boots to the ground outreach. So we go to where the homeless people are. Primarily we serve the south side of Fort Worth. So we are serving homeless persons that typically live in the woods, so to speak, in parks and camps. They live in tents, they live in abandoned buildings. So it's not the typical homeless persons that live near shelters on East Lancaster where most homeless people are. So most of these people, or 99% of them, are in the streets and camps. Homeless camps is what we call them, or tent cities, small tent cities, things of that nature.
Well, you shared some things. You helped educate me, so I know you build a bond with the people. So tell the days y'all go serve. Is it still on Sundays or what days?
We go every Sunday. In the summertime, we go at 4 o'clock p.m. So we have them to meet us in the park because typically, like I said, we're on the south side of Fort Worth. So you may have homeless persons that live maybe a half a mile or even a mile away. So we have them meet us in the park on Sundays. So we do build a bond to find out what their needs are. Typically, we can help them get housed. We help them get into rehabilitation centers. We work with MHMR, so there are some persons that suffer from mental illnesses, drug addictions. And then once they're housed or in an apartment, we help them after that fact as well. So if they need household furnishings, which most of them do, we help them with that as well.
Now, I remember you telling me one time about a couple of, when they've been homeless for so long, the comfort they have, and just once they get their housing through the programs that City of Fort Worth offers, going and spending time at that apartment. So share a little about that.
I think what you're referring to is them not wanting to spend time at the apartment.
Yeah, they rather be with their community.
They rather be with their community, or in some instances they feel like because they've been on the streets for so long. When I say so long, some of these persons are homeless for over 10 years. So I have a couple of instances. One guy, typically, I'm gonna say he went to his apartment maybe 3 times in the first 6 months of the apartment, having the apartment. So what he did was he would go there maybe once in a while. At the same time, the other thing is with him was he didn't feel like he needed a shower. Even though he had the apartment, he didn't feel the need to go home and take a shower. So it was like, okay, I think it was a peach cobbler, I don't remember. So I was like, I'll bake you a peach cobbler if you'll stay at the apartment for like 2 weeks and take a shower, at least 8 of those days. He was like, let's make a compromise. I'll stay there 2 weeks, but I'll only shower 4 days. That's just too much shower. A person doesn't need that many showers. Another person, he stayed in his apartment, I'm going to say even less than that. Because he stayed through the first winter storm. Remember when it was like negative 2 degrees, 3 degrees, and we had no electricity, things of that nature. He stayed outside, and I was like, why wouldn't you go home and take some of your friends, to the apartment? And he was like, I keep losing the keys. And he lived in a field, which was a field of trash to me. So I was like, why don't you bury the key in a certain spot, and then remember where the key is. Long story short, he ended up going home maybe the 3rd year. He went to, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar, but there's an apartment community called Quail Ridge on the north side of Fort Worth. And it's 4plexes, so they live in there. Most of everybody in there is ex-homeless. And so to get ready for an inspection one day, we went over to help him clean up because his apartment looked like the field. and he had literally took the water hose from outside and ran the water hose through, so now the trash is floating to the outside. So we're like, what
That
are you
was his
doing?
way of cleaning?
That was his way of cleaning out the trash.
Oh my, wow.
So he's like, I'm gonna mop once the trash floats out. So it's like their mindsets get so accommodated to being outside.
Well, see, that's why I was saying about meeting people where they are. We don't have to understand how they think, how they feel. Just meet them there and help navigate however their feelings are or what their thoughts are. And you've done a good job with that. I just love you and what you do, because it's needed, and you're boots on the ground. You're out there in the trenches, and it's not cute. It's not fun. Not everybody can do it. Cause I say, what you need? I give whatever. Whenever she have a need on Facebook, she need a sleeping bag. She need a tent. I'm there. I'm giving it to you. So, but that, and then you have to have compassion. You have to have empathy and patience. Is it anything else that you have to have when you're dealing with a community where people are homeless and they have probably put guards up?
I'm going to say you have to have a heart. You have to have the heart to want to do this. So even like this past Sunday, I had a team come out, a large team come out to serve. So one of the things I try to make people understand too is we want to serve the homeless, or we say we want to serve the homeless. A lot of people think serving the homeless is me making a plate. If I can't be hands-on on making that plate, I'm not actually serving the homeless. I'm not actually serving today. I think one of the myths about homeless people is that they're always hungry.
I know, because I know that was a problem, wasn't it? Because people were taking all this. Everybody wants to do a mission, but they want to go to Lancaster and take food down there in the overage of trash or clothes, and they're homeless, so it's really no way for them to store stuff. So I know that came up in one of the meetings about how, and they start trying to regulate who was taking food down there. But I know one guy that was out here that was struggling. I finally got him to go into the program down there, Salvation Army, and he said, Miss Stanley, I'm so glad I came because we eat good. He said, I haven't missed a meal since I've been there. He said that was his focus, talking about he hadn't missed a meal. Before he was thin and hungry. He said, that food is so good. So he was talking about how people bring the food. Well, so I'm getting back to what you were saying, that the myth is that people feel like that's the one thing they could do is take food down there. But you really do case management. You're doing case management, and you're a referral source. You're out there, and I've seen you walk this walk with people when they need. You're getting their basic needs to them,
right,
as they live out there.
Right.
So with the tents, and then because you were telling me. So tell me about, like, what is tent like life like? What is that like, living in a tent
for them?
For them.
It's absolutely wonderful. Mm-hmm. They love it. The ones that live in the tent, they love it. Mm-hmm. For me, I do like to visit the tents. I'm not gonna lie. I like to go inside your tent. I ask if I can go in, if I can take a picture or take a video. I don't take a picture or video of persons. If you see on Facebook, I try not to take a picture of a person. You always
put a face over them.
Yeah.
You never expose them.
I try not to expose them or exploit them. And then also in the city of Fort Worth or in the United States, there's a lot of human trafficking going on. So we have right now a flyer going around where there's a organization that says they're helping people get off of drugs. And it's a van. They have a van, and they're going around advertising this organization or ministry. It's a ministry in Georgia. When you Google the address, it's a single family home. Only one person that we know of has actually got in the van, accepted the help, and no one's seen or heard from him.
Oh my.
So it's
Was he
like,
a young man?
He's a young man. They're soliciting youth. So they're targeting youth.
So
but at the same time, I tell women especially, when we come, try not to let people take pictures of you. You know, I try to ask volunteers as well, or groups, don't take pictures of the people, you know, especially their faces. We had a young group come out June 2023. June 15th of Father's Day is our biggest event of the year for homeless.
June what day?
This year's June the 15th.
Tomorrow.
The 16th, I'm sorry, Father's Day.
Oh, Sunday.
Sunday,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So y'all gonna be there next Sunday?
We're going to be there Sunday. Sunday is our biggest day. We grill, we bring out grills, we bring out multiple groups, we bring out multiple resources. And so one young lady came from Dallas, and it was her first time coming to serve, and I was like, don't take a picture of their faces. And she has a full view of this young lady, and she took a picture of her. She's homeless, she's carrying her supplies and things. And I'm not saying the two are related, but 3 months later, she was found dead. Same lady. And so I tell people, I tell the girls, the ladies especially, don't allow them to take your picture, because you never know who's watching Facebook, and then they pull up and offer you a meal, offer you some supplies, offer you drugs or whatever, and you get in the van or the car, and then now you're gone, because you never know who's watching your Facebook posts. I have a young lady, and I say young because she's probably in her late 50s, but we thought she was in her 70s or 80s. Oh. She looks just that bad.
She's from the sun.
Yeah, and the drugs.
And the drugs.
And so I get a call one morning, like at 5 o'clock in the morning, from a stranger, and she was like, I found this lady laying out in the park, and she asked me to call you. She was dumped by a man. And she got in a car with a man who thought, oh, you're homeless, and I can help you, da 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 da. And she looks like she's 70 or 80, but when she didn't oblige him for his sexual favors, and she's on a walker, she has cancer. She had just got out of the hospital, so she has a hospital scrubs on. And he just threw her out on the ground. And luckily enough, she could tell this young lady the name of the ministry that helps her. And the lady Googled and called. It was like,
so you got her to the hospital.
We got her.
Survive?
She was okay. He didn't hurt her. No, we got her back to the park where she lived. She had been in the hospital a week or more. She had a stroke, and so we got her back to the park and got her some help. Right now, she's in a rehab center. So she has an apartment. That's one of the other things too. A lot of people think because they're homeless, because they live in a tent, and like I said, they love it. But it's some that do want to come out. So a lot of people think, oh, don't help them. They want to be there. They like that. They enjoy that. Some of them do want to come out. And she's one of the ones that I thought would never come out. But her physical condition had gotten too bad where she was paralyzed on one side. So she took an apartment, but when she took the apartment, her neighbors took advantage of her.
Like how?
One of them beat her up real bad. Her mindset was not right, so now she's on the west side in a nursing home.
Well, they're vulnerable, and vultures prey on them. So, but that's good to know. I think that's good for us to know also, because we can be more sensitive to, even if we want to help. This is, the do's and don'ts of not that, and then leave it to the professionals. Because I always just ask you, how can we help? Or if I see a post, when you post your needs, then that's how I can help. Right. So as we talk about how we can help, why don't you tell them how they can help you? I know you need funding, so give them your information, your website.
The website is www.Fort Worth 5 Lows and twofishoutreach.org. The organization again is Fort Worth 5 Lows and Two Fish Outreach. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Email address is 5FIVELOAVES2 so it's 5 Lows, the number 2 at AOL.com. The biggest needs, of course, are finances. We provide on a regular basis, every Sunday, we're providing a hot meal, of course. The hot meal is primarily sponsored by the catering company from Felicia Gumont. She actually prepares the food, brings the food. We contribute to help her pay for the food, but she prepares the food and drops it off. Our biggest need on Sunday is water. So we pay for water out of my personal pocket or from donations. And when I say the biggest need is water, is a typical outreach probably gives a person 1 to 2 bottles of water. Yes. We're providing 10 bottles of water every Sunday. So we make a hydration kit and assemble it on site. So it has 10 bottles of water. It's in a reusable bag. We have to pay for that bag. The bag is 25 cents a bag. We typically serve at least 100 persons. In that bag, there's 10 bottles of water, and then there's 10 bottles of other drinks, such as Gatorade or sweet tea, juice, or something to that effect. Then we have what we call a survival kit. The survival kit is going to be non-perishables and snacks. That will be something that you can prepare yourself at your camp. So it's rice, ramen noodles, oatmeal, snacks, chips, things of that nature. Anything that's non-perishable, tuna for the protein, or Vienna sausage. So now, of course, we come out every Sunday. There's another group that comes out every Tuesday night. But now you got to take care of yourself the other days. So we're trying to prepare a survival kit so that you can prepare food for yourself, or at least have a snack and at least some water. And I say 10 bottles of water because of right now it's summertime, so hydration, of course, is important. Yeah. But the other thing is hygiene. So a lot of people jump into the creek to wash themselves. But now when you jump into the creek to wash yourselves, a lot of them come up with worms.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So now they have worms.
The water's not, it's not healthy.
No, the water's not healthy. There's snakes in the water.
Oh, I don't like
snakes. There's turtles. It's a regular creek.
It's a creek. Oh my gosh. But you know, I'm just so, that makes me more empathetic for that cause. So, Deborah, what else would you like to share with us?
This, when I say boots to the ground, I would say it's not for the weak at heart. Because you are, typical Sunday, you may see a person that's on drugs and right now he or she is high and out of their minds. You see a lot of people that are actually talking to themselves. You hear a lot of stories that are heartbreaking. So I have a young lady on this past Sunday, and she's a big lady. When I say big, I'm saying about 300 pounds. She got evicted from her apartment just last week. So she's back in a tent, and she's wearing very thin clothes because she wants to get her supplies. They call them supplies or groceries. They came to get their supplies or groceries, and she wants to head back to that creek because she says she sits in the creek all day to keep cool.
Oh.
So it's like, oh man, you know, she messed up her apartment, but at the same time now, the city of Fort Worth and the housing programs, they are lenient. Since COVID, I've seen more people get evicted and get another apartment. So she may have another apartment. We just need to find out the ins and outs and what happened.
Does that program pay for the rent temporary, a year? And now on the landlord side, as I talk to some of my landlords, I have one that loves the program because they pay him up to a year, but then they like his houses, they like him, and they've really built a relationship with the case managers. So he takes their clients when they come, but they seem like they find a way to keep the payments coming, because I know some other people that once the year is gone, then they don't pay, they haven't prepared, they're not working, and they end up evicting them. And that's like a setup for that person. So do you know if those programs are, am I telling it right, that they have two different programs or what?
There's actually a few, but most of the people that I've seen house, if you do right with your program, after that year or during that year, meet your case management, meet your meetings, be there when someone comes to visit, they move into what they call permanent housing.
That's wonderful.
So I know some people.
The landlords would like that.
Yes. I know some people that would never pay rent the rest of their lives, or utilities. And typically those persons, not saying that anyone deserves it more than the other, but the ones that I do know, they really needed it at the time because they were old, they were sick. The first one that I heard of for permanent housing, he came up missing, and he's an older guy. And so I was, looking for him. I had posters out and everything. It turned out he was at John Peter Smith. He was in the hospital. And when he came out the hospital, he came back to the abandoned building. It's a school on the south side. I won't say the name, but he was at the school. So I was like, okay, and I pull up and there he is. People called and said, he's here, he's here. So I go over and he's like, you won't believe what happened to me. And I was like, what happened to you? And he was like, I was in the hospital and they got me house. And I was like, what do you mean they got your house? He was like, they got me an apartment. And I was like, oh, okay, where's the apartment? So he says where the apartment is. And he was like, Miss Deborah, I've never heard of this before in my life, but they say I'll never pay rent the rest of my life. I have permanent housing.
He couldn't believe it.
I was like, there's no such thing as permanent housing. So
but he
like,
came by to visit to let y'all know he was okay, or he came to hang
get
out?
His stuff.
Oh, he came to get his stuff.
He came to get his stuff. Now
they kept his stuff for him. The other,
they did.
His community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was one of the lucky ones. A lot of them know and that's why too. A lot of people are like, people want to help, okay, but a lot of people have the weirdest of ideas. It's like, let me bring a bus and bring them to the convention center or to a recreation center, and I have a conference and I bust them in and bring them to the conference. It's like you're asking someone, that's like saying, hey, Deborah, come, let me pick you up from your house, and you leave your house unlocked.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's the way they look at it.
They don't want, well, that makes so much sense, Deborah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me pick you up and you leave your dog out in the yard.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Like, no, they don't want to do that,
Yeah,
And a lot of people don't understand, and just like I was saying earlier, a lot of people think to help a homeless person is to feed a homeless person. If I'm not feeding him, if I'm not physically touching that plate, then I'm not served today. And it's like there's so much more to coming out on Sundays.
Yeah.
Get to know him or her, find out what their situation is. They want to tell you. They want to tell you. I asked a guy last week, I was like, hey, rumor is you're going home. So you got a home? So he's like, yeah, I have a home. I got a whole family. I was knowing you for 4 years.
You didn't even know he had a family?
No.
But he's going home to his family.
He's going home to his family.
They opening arms.
For an open arms. You have some, though, that have families, and it's not the families that turned their back on them. They turned their back on the family. But they didn't turn their back on the family. They turned their back on the family to get what their needs. Their drugs, their alcohol, or whatever.
Oh, shame, maybe?
Some of them is shame. And that's why another reason why I say don't take pictures of people. Because I know one guy for sure, he's in a full dress at least 7 days a week. If it's not a dress, it's some kind of women's attire. And he was like, my mom and my dad has never seen me like this. And you go back on Facebook and you're looking at your own pictures. And I'm like, I have a picture of you I didn't even know from 4 years ago. And you're dressed in full man's clothes. And he was like, yeah, that's me. It's actually my cover picture. And it's been my cover picture for years. So that means I served him before COVID. Because I've only been in this area since COVID. Because I served on Lancaster. Wow. But he does not want his mom and dad to know that this is his appearance or this is the lifestyle that he's living.
Well, I think I've learned over the years serving and inviting volunteers in. I'm very guarded, so people think I'm weird that way. But when people don't understand the culture, and they come into a culture, which you're coming into a community, I call it a community of homelessness, and that's their community and how they live. When you come into our community, you can't expect people to live the way you live and have values the way you have values. So you have to respect their values, you have to understand their values, and that's what Deborah's met them where they are, with that respect. And so that's what I love, that how you do your ministry. And I love partnering with you, and you operate on partners. So if it's and I'm sure you screen them, and like you say, it's not for everyone, but they can surely do it, because I know you and we do a lot of transfer of goods. Hey, I got socks, I got this, I got food, I got this. I think my grill Chick-fil-A. I gave you, huh? Chick-fil-A. So gladly share the things we need when you need things. So people need to watch you on Facebook, because I know on Facebook she posts what she needs on there, and then a lot of us show up, and I know co-pastor Yolanda Butler, she's good about, okay, I'm going to get this, and I'll say, well, get mine for me. So we're good at that. So whatever else you need, here's your opportunity, and we're gonna be closing this out in a minute here.
Thank
So
you.
what else you want to say?
Other than funding and the water, the other thing is probably tents. I'm going to say tents is a big need, especially in the wintertime, primarily in the wintertime. If we get tents now, we save them for the wintertime, so we don't distribute tents in the summertime. So in the summertime, if you have a tent left over from the wintertime, then you need to use that. But otherwise, they will take a tarp and build a tent, but tents are very expensive for us. A typical tent is $29. As she mentioned, co-pastor Yolanda Butler typically does or used to do a campaign where she would actually solicit tents. So we didn't do that. She didn't do that this last year, so we had to buy tents. But tents are probably one of the most expensive things that we need as well, because we want to distribute 29 tents or 100 tents at $29 in November. The other thing that's expensive for us, I'm going to say probably, is storage. We pay for 3 to 4 storage units a month. So we're spending out about $600 a month in storage fees that we cannot afford. So we need help with storage. We need help with a box truck or a cargo van. We rent a box truck 2 to 3 times a month. We do have partners that donate to us on a regular basis. We pick up from a food bank once a month. We pick up from Custom Ink for t-shirts once a month. And we're responsible for the truck and the labor that helps us to load the truck and unload that truck.
Well, Deborah, I'm just thinking about it because I think you're pretty humble, because I don't think you do. You feel like you're good at asking for these things? Because I know, like you said, I know you haven't reached out to me for anything in a long time, but when people get busy, when we're busy, then we forget, or we just doing our own thing. Like, the thing with the tents, I feel like if you just put it out there again, then we would do it again. So I'm just going to encourage you as your mentor to make sure you're asking for what you need. And if somebody sponsored you last year, make sure you ask them for the next year ahead of time, so we can make sure you get what you need, because it might be an afterthought, and you just, because you're a go-getter, you're gonna go out and do it. You like me, you're gonna go out and get it done. You're not gonna wait on, you're not gonna beg, but it's okay to ask.
It's okay.
Okay, and then I think that's what I want to encourage you to, just make sure you're asking, and I know I'm here to support you. But if you don't ask me, I forget. I'm doing my thing over here. Right?
Right.
So they can reach you. So thank you again, and please subscribe as you watch our YouTube, Sandra Renee Stanley Ministries. Please subscribe and keep it, we want to educate you. So we're giving you good information. And I also want to shout out to Freddie Watkins. He's our video person. He's well known over Fort Worth. He comes and does our videos for us, and he's on the other side of that camera. So thank you, Freddie, for always showing up for me and being so faithful. Thank you.